For years, Ava believed there were two kinds of daughters in her family: the one who was noticed, and the one who quietly held everything together. She already knew which one she was. People called her the dependable daughter, the calm one, the one who never caused problems, the one who listened, helped, showed up, and asked for almost nothing in return. Her sister Harper was different. Harper could walk into a room and own it within seconds. She was magnetic, charming, confident. She had a way of telling stories that made people lean closer. And somehow, no matter what happened, she always became the center of attention. Ava spent years standing beside that spotlight, until one day, everything changed. It happened after their mother passed away. Grief filled every room in the house like heavy fog. No one really knew how to breathe through it. Their mother had always said the same thing whenever conversations about the future came up. Take care of each other. Simple words, important words. Ava believed them. Weeks passed, then months, and slowly she started wondering why certain conversations never happened. Questions about paperwork, questions about finances, questions about their mother's wishes. Every time Ava asked, someone changed the subject. It's being handled. Don't worry about it. Later. So Ava waited, because that's what she had always done. She trusted. Then one evening, everything cracked open. Her father stood in the doorway of the family home, exhaustion carved into his face. "Don't come back here," he said quietly. The words hit harder than shouting ever could. Behind him stood Harper, arms folded, watching. Then she smiled and said something that froze Ava in place. "Enjoy the money I kept safe for you." Ava stared at her. "What money?" Silence. For the first time in years, Harper's expression shifted, just slightly, but Ava saw it. And sometimes one tiny crack is all truth needs. That night, Ava sat in her apartment staring at the ceiling. She replayed those words over and over. What money? Questions she had ignored suddenly rushed back. Questions she had been too afraid to ask. Her phone buzzed after midnight. A message from Harper. "What did you say?" Ava didn't answer. A few minutes later, her phone rang. It was the family lawyer. His voice sounded tired. "We need to talk." The next morning, Ava sat across from him in a quiet office while sunlight crept across the floor. He slid papers toward her carefully. "She told your father you wanted her to manage everything." Ava frowned. "What?" He looked uncomfortable. "She said you weren't ready for responsibility." Ava laughed softly. Not because it was funny, because sometimes truth becomes so unbelievable that laughter is the only thing left. Then she reached into her bag. Months earlier, while sorting through old boxes, she had discovered something tucked behind a photograph. A letter, her mother's handwriting, neat, gentle, unmistakable. The lawyer unfolded it carefully. As he read, his expression changed, and Ava watched his eyes widen, then silence. Long silence. Finally, he looked up. "This changes things." Ava shook her head slowly. "No," she whispered. "It explains things." For the first time in years, pieces started connecting. Conversations that never made sense. Moments that felt wrong. The feeling of constantly standing outside her own life. Her mother had seen it all along. She had seen Ava shrinking herself, seen her trying to earn love that shouldn't have required earning, seen her disappearing, and in that letter, she left something more valuable than money. She left proof that Ava mattered, proof that she was seen, proof that being quiet never meant being invisible. Days later, Ava received a call from her father. His voice sounded smaller somehow. "I didn't know." 3 words she had waited years to hear. Not because they fixed everything, because they finally carried honesty. "I tried talking before," Ava said softly. Silence. Then, I know. Life moved forward, slowly, painfully, but forward. Ava spent time at the lake house her mother once loved. She walked through rooms filled with old memories. Sunlight poured through windows. Dust danced in quiet corners. And for the first time, she wasn't walking through a place filled with expectations. She was walking through peace. In one closet, she discovered another box. Inside were photographs, letters, old notes, small pieces of a life, and one audio recording. She pressed play. Her mother's voice filled the room, soft, warm, familiar. "If you're hearing this," she said, "I want you to remember something." Ava stopped breathing. "You spent your whole life trying to prove your worth." A pause. "You never had to." Tears slid down Ava's face, not from heartbreak, from release. Because all those years she thought she had been forgotten, she hadn't been. Someone had been watching. Someone had known. The months passed. The lake house slowly transformed. Fresh paint, open windows, flowers outside, pictures on walls. Not because Ava was rebuilding a house, because she was rebuilding herself. She filled spaces with things she loved: music, books, light, peace. She stopped apologizing for taking up room, stopped explaining herself, stopped shrinking. One evening, she hosted a small gallery event showcasing her mother's artwork. People walked quietly through the rooms. They smiled, they cried, they connected. At the center of the exhibit hung one painting, a storm opening above still water, and beneath it stood a girl. Still, unmoving, strong. Ava called it inheritance, not because of money, not because of property, because of strength, because of truth. Because sometimes the greatest thing someone leaves you isn't wealth. It's permission. Permission to stop hiding. Permission to become yourself. Later that night, Ava sat outside overlooking the lake. The water reflected stars above her. The world felt still, peaceful. For a long time, she had believed winning meant proving people wrong. Now she understood something different. Winning wasn't revenge. Winning wasn't being chosen. Winning was finally choosing herself. She smiled toward the sky, then whispered, "I made it." The wind moved gently across the water, and somehow it felt like home. Because when people spend years making you feel invisible, you start believing you need permission to exist. But one day you realize you were never invisible. You were just standing in someone else's shadow, and once you step into your own light, everything changes.